History remembers the kings who won wars, built empires, and rewrote nations. But it rarely speaks about the royal families who were intentionally erased, their names carved out of stone, their bloodlines hunted, their legacies buried so deep that only fragments remain. These aren't faded dynasties. These are deleted dynasties. Families so powerful, someone decided the world should forget they ever existed. Today, we uncover the royal houses that were wiped out of history, not by time, but by human hands. 1. The Hohenstaufens, the empire too dangerous to remember. Imagine ruling half of Europe. Imagine your family producing emperors feared by popes and kings alike. Now imagine every male heir in your family line mysteriously dying within just a few decades. That's the fate of the Hohenstaufen dynasty, rulers of the Holy Roman Empire. Frederick II, their most legendary figure, was brilliant, multilingual, and visionary, yet branded by the Church as the Antichrist. After his death, it wasn't enough to defeat his heirs. They had to be erased. His son, Enzo, was locked in prison for 23 years until he died. His grandson, Conradin, just 16, was publicly executed, the last Hohenstaufen male. Another heir disappeared on a hunting trip. Nobody ever found. Documents were destroyed, symbols outlawed. The dynasty that once shaped Europe was turned into a taboo. Why? Power, fear, and the Church's desire to bury a family that challenged them. 1,000 years later, historians still uncover the pieces someone tried so hard to hide. 2. The Zand dynasty, Persia's gentle empire that was eliminated. Most dynasties fall through war or rebellion. The Zand dynasty of Persia fell through something darker: systematic erasure. Karim Khan Zand was loved by his people, a peaceful ruler known as the Wakil al-Raya, or the advocate of the people. Under his leadership, Persia flourished without tyranny. But peace is a threat to those who seek power. After his death, rivals didn't just overthrow the Zand family. They hunted down every surviving prince, eliminating their claim to the throne. Official records say the dynasty lost power, but quiet, hidden accounts speak of executions, forced disappearances, and secret assassinations. Even today, information about the Zand dynasty is surprisingly scarce, not because time forgot them, but because someone made sure time never remembered them. 3. The 18th dynasty of Egypt, the family erased by their own civilization. This is the dynasty of Akhenaten, the pharaoh who dared to overthrow Egypt's religious system, and the dynasty of Tutankhamun, the boy king whose tomb would shock the world. This family didn't just lose power, they were systematically erased. Akhenaten's radical religious transformation, shifting Egypt to a form of monotheism, angered the priesthood. So after his death, something unprecedented happened. His statues were smashed. His name was chiseled off monuments. His city was abandoned. His family line was struck from the king lists. Even Nefertiti, once worshipped as a living goddess, was erased. Tutankhamun's name was hidden as well, a forgotten footnote until his tomb was discovered 3,000 years later. A whole royal family deleted because they challenged the beliefs of the most powerful institution in ancient Egypt. Only archaeology, thousands of years later, restored them. 4. The Kushanas of Central Asia, the empire nobody was allowed to mention. At their height, the Kushanas controlled a trade network stretching from India to Rome. They built cities, minted gold coins, and helped spread Buddhism across Asia. So why does almost nobody today know they existed? Because the empires that followed them found their influence too powerful and their legacy too inconvenient. Records were replaced. Temples were repurposed. Sculptures were recarved to resemble later rulers. For centuries, the Kushana Empire remained a ghost, remembered only through scattered artifacts on the Silk Road. Their dynasty didn't disappear. It was deliberately overshadowed, overwritten by those who wanted to claim their achievements. Only in the last century have historians begun to uncover the truth. They were one of ancient Asia's greatest powers, erased because new rulers wanted a blank slate. 6. The House of Vasa, the kings Sweden doesn't like to talk about. The Vasa dynasty shaped Scandinavia. They sparked wars, reformed religions, and established Sweden as a major European power. But some of their stories were quietly buried. Take Eric XIV, a king whose paranoia drove him to madness, including poisoning nobles and imprisoning his own family. After he was deposed, the official narrative softened. Documents vanished, his story was sanitized. Or John II Casimir, the Vasa king who abandoned his throne and fled to France, leaving a weakened Poland behind. A king stepping down was unheard of, so chroniclers erased him from many accounts. Pieces of the dynasty's darker history were intentionally removed to preserve the image of a strong, unified Sweden. It worked for centuries. 7. The Yuan dynasty. The Mongols China tried not to remember. The Yuan dynasty, founded by Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, ruled all of China. It was powerful, wealthy, and globally connected. But when the native Ming dynasty rose to power, they rewrote the story. Ming historians painted the Yuan as foreign invaders, erasing their achievements, their infrastructure reforms, their cultural contributions, their international trade networks. The Yuan's records were burned. Their era was labeled a period of chaos. Even mentioning their intellectual works was discouraged. An entire imperial dynasty turned into a villain through official history. It took global historians centuries to piece back their true impact. The real question: why were these dynasties erased? Across every region, every century, the reason is strikingly similar. Power fears legacy. If a dynasty is too influential, too beloved, or too dangerous, destroying their memory is safer than letting their story survive. Erasing them achieves three things: kills their political influence, destroys their legitimacy, and allows the new rulers to rewrite the narrative. Conquerors don't just seize power, they seize history. The scars remain in destroyed tombs, missing chronicles, broken statues, censored genealogies. But every erased dynasty leaves clues, and history, no matter how tightly controlled, has a way of resurfacing. So the next time you read about kings and queens, remember this: the greatest mysteries aren't the dynasties we study, they're the ones we were never supposed to know existed. History celebrates the victors, but truth lives in the shadows of the families that were erased. And this is only the beginning. If you want more forgotten dynasties, secret royal bloodlines, or erased empires, you know what to do.